Hello, my name is Sydney Carlos, and I am applying for the archivist role in the Love Library at San Diego State University. In this presentation, I intend to examine the concept of cultural heritage and the pivotal role that academic libraries play in its preservation. I will incorporate examples from the conflict in Palestine and the Israeli regime to illustrate this topic. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization defines cultural heritage as encompassing artifacts, monuments, a group of buildings and sites, museums that have a diversity of values, including symbolic, historic, artistic, aesthetic, ethnological, or anthropological, scientific, and social significance. Academic libraries bear a significant responsibility in safeguarding cultural heritage, which includes the protection of documents, libraries, and cultural sites during times of conflict. The responsibility of libraries and organizations to act in accordance with ethical standards and global policies has been a subject of scholarly debate. In the role of archivists, it is crucial to advocate for the preservation and collection of cultural heritage that is at risk of destruction in the context of the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian people. Again, this discussion will specifically focus on Palestine and the obligations of libraries to the Palestinian people and their cultural heritage. This presentation will focus on examining the responsibilities that academic libraries and how pertinent organizations bear in the collection of archiving cultural materials in Palestine. In doing so, I aim to explain how the role of the archivist ensures access to information through the preservation of cultural heritage. The influence of libraries in Palestine through their proactive engagement, adherence to ethical standards, and compliance with global policies directly impacts collection management at the Love Library. The archivist role enables the library to contribute to the preservation of cultural heritage in Palestine by collecting and archiving these cultural materials. To explain the necessity of preserving cultural heritage in Palestine, it is essential to examine the concept of Zionism, which Israel regards as a fundamental value. Zionism is characterized by the aim to secure control for the Jewish people over as much of the land of Palestine as possible with minimal presence of non-Jewish natives. This ideology has significantly contributed to the destruction of Palestine's libraries and cultural heritage. Although it is impractical to expect libraries to halt a war, they nonetheless play a vital role in safeguarding cultural heritage amidst conflict. The examination of Palestinian history and the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine facilitates a more systematic approach to archival collection, aiding in the determination of what materials should be preserved. It is essential for archivists to gather artifacts that enhance research and education within their respective communities. While libraries in Palestine are being deliberately targeted, academic libraries abroad, such as the library at San Diego State University, possess the capacity to preserve Palestinian cultural heritage, and artifacts. According to the United Nations, 13 public libraries in Palestine have sustained damage or have been destroyed, excluding the academic institutions that have also been affected. This destruction constitutes an effort to obliterate the historical narrative of Palestine and impede future generations from acquiring knowledge and education about their heritage. The responsibility of the archivist is to ensure that such erasure does not occur. In this capacity, I would endeavor to advocate for the collection and preservation of Palestine's cultural heritage materials while also continuing to research and study the history of Palestine. This targeted destruction of libraries underscores the critical importance of academic libraries and their archivists in focusing on the preservation of Palestinian history by safeguarding its cultural heritage. Access to information is a fundamental value of librarianship, with libraries playing a pivotal role in ensuring equitable access for all individuals. Central to this access are collections and archives, as they constitute the foundation upon which information is made available. Libraries serve as repositories of social and institutional memory, which often makes them targets for destruction, as they house information that embodies the memory of specific cultures. Libraries encapsulate national and cultural identities and provide access to resources of cultural heritage. As the significance of academic libraries in preserving cultural heritage becomes increasingly recognized, libraries are progressively collaborating with archives to enhance this dissemination of information to their communities. Libraries possess the capacity to preserve cultural memory, and the role of archivists in this endeavor is of paramount importance. This function is particularly relevant in the context of collecting the cultural heritage of Palestine, thereby enabling the university community to access a diverse array of information, some of which was previously inaccessible. The role of an archivist, which I aspire to undertake, is crucial in ensuring that cultural heritage materials are readily accessible to all who seek them. The preservation of these materials is vital as it provides students, faculty, and staff with access to information that might otherwise be at risk of destruction due to conflict. As an aspiring archivist, I recognize the significant role that archiving plays in the preservation and accessibility of collective memory, which in turn influences societal perceptions of the past. These documents and artifacts offer valuable insights into our history and serve as the sole connection to our historical narrative. The cultivation of a collection of cultural heritage artifacts is crucial for the Palestinian people, as it enables the preservation of their cultural identity and provides future generations with the opportunity to learn about their historical legacy. This preservation not only serves the university community, but also enables the people of Palestine to maintain a connection to their historical legacy. The ability to access their history and artifacts, whether physically or digitally, ensures the continued vitality of their cultural heritage. As a university library, it is imperative to ensure that access to information is readily available. As an archivist, it is your responsibility to ensure that this information is collected and accessible for viewing. I am interested in exploring how the university's collection can be updated and revised to provide optimal information to students, staff, and faculty. Social media has increasingly assumed a significant role in the archiving collection of cultural heritage and artifact contributing to the digitization of archival materials. As repositories of knowledge, libraries hold a responsibility for the preservation and dissemination of these items. The library is dedicated to the preservation of cultural heritage and ensures broad accessibility to its materials, thereby enabling future generations to connect with the history of human civilization. In this current digital age, social media has become a vital role in documenting life and history. While social media facilitates access to real-time information, further investigation is required to understand its impact on archives and the preservation of cultural heritage, as well as the determination of what constitutes cultural heritage. In Palestine, individuals experiencing the war are documenting their experiences through videos and photographs shared online, thereby facilitating global awareness of the conflict. This practice also positions these citizens as witnesses. Such posts function as a medium of communication and connection with people worldwide. The digital age has introduced both opportunities and challenges for libraries and archivists. The growing volume of information that libraries can now collect directly influences efforts to create digital collections. Although with social media comes with the obstacle of what constitutes cultural heritage and what does not, libraries and archivists are currently engaged in the task of delineating what constitutes cultural heritage. This endeavor presents a challenge for archivists as they seek to curate their collection. In this capacity, I'm interested in investigating the impact of social media on the curation of cultural heritage within universities, specifically focusing on the criteria for determining what should be preserved and what should not. As archivists navigate the complexities of managing this influx of information, libraries should prioritize safeguarding these items to preserve history and enhance awareness. One of the primary challenges confronting the field of librarianship is the issue of neutrality. As institutions committed to equity and the provision of information access, libraries often find it challenging to adopt positions on political matters. However, some scholars contend that failing to address the destruction of libraries' cultural heritage during wartime contradicts the core principles of librarianship. For instance, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization and the American Library Association have developed policies and procedures delineating their responsibilities in the preservation of cultural heritage during periods of conflict. Both organizations have maintained neutral stances concerning the war and destruction of cultural heritage, which has elicited criticism from scholars and librarians. Libraries function as both physical and symbolic institutions of human civilization in times of conflict. Social responsibility is a fundamental value of librarianship, and by maintaining neutrality, libraries neglect their obligations. While neutrality is frequently associated with libraries, it is not recognized as a fundamental value of librarianship, whereas social responsibility is explicitly acknowledged as such. This observation suggests that organizations have not fully adhered to their established policies and responsibilities, resulting in the destruction of cultural heritage materials. Consequently, this undermines the global community's access to information. According to the library policy at San Diego State, books and other library resources should be provided for the interest, information, and enlightenment of all people in the community the library serves. Material should not be excluded because of the origin, background, or views of those contributing to their creation. Libraries should provide materials and information presenting all points of view on current and historical issues. The library bears a responsibility to its community to archive the cultural heritage of Palestine, ensuring access to a diverse array of materials on Palestine. As libraries in Palestine continue to face destruction along with the artifacts and documents of Palestinian cultural heritage, libraries must reconsider their neutral stance. The obliteration of history is not an issue to be overlooked and warrants vocal opposition. The future of Palestine is contingent upon how academic libraries and other information institutions collect and archive cultural heritage materials and how they engage in discourse regarding libraries in times of war. Upon concluding my research, I have identified several potential avenues for advancing the role of libraries in the preservation of cultural heritage. Libraries and similar organizations should actively participate in discussions concerning libraries in conflict zones and assert their presence when information is intentionally obliterated. Academic libraries, including this institution, bear the responsibility to respond and advocate for the cessation of violence. It is imperative to recognize that libraries serve as symbolic spaces. Individuals often seek out library during times of need or in access to information of interest. When community members observe a library's lack of advocacy on critical political issues such as the destruction of cultural heritage and the genocide of Palestinians, it can influence public perception of libraries. There must be a concerted effort to oppose the destruction and oppression occurring in Palestine. Further research is necessary to explore the relationship between social media and the archiving of social media posts. Digitization represents the future of archiving, and it is crucial to conduct more research on integrating the digital realm into the work of archivists. The university and its library have significant potential for enhancement in both advocating against the destruction of cultural heritage in Palestine and actively engaging in its preservation. It is imperative that the university's archivists advocate for these improvements.